Hey everyone, it's Multimedia 7 here to do a part 2 of the previous, Dreamcatcher Now channeled message. I was talking about a particular dream that I seen where it was a Pisces and a Virgo, a government official, a man, assassination attempt, something about political parties and the government and assassination attempts and things of that sort. It was a lot. What I didn't speak about is the channel messages in regards to that previous Dreamcatcher message. You can refer back to that video if you would like more insight. Now, so the first reference into this message was in regards to, I guess, the 9/11 attack and where the president was when he received a phone call. To public knowledge, we know that the former president was reading to a class, and the particular class is what was highly significant. Something about the word kindergarten. So I looked up the definition of what kindergarten is. Kindergarten is of German origin, the mid-19th century. Definition meaning children's garden. What also became highly significant to me is how the word, if you break it down, the words within it. The first word I seen was kin, der, the gar, G-A-R, and 10. Now 10 we know in numerology, if you take the American Heritage Society class, you know that 10 is in regards to career and social status. When I saw the word gar, I didn't look it up, but the first thing I thought about, I don't know if that's a word, you can look it up if you choose to do so. I thought of Garfield, the cat. You know Garfield, he was like real lackadaisical and but he always got things done. So that could be in reference to that message and overall, or that particular day of how something happened. What I also find interesting is now, while I'm doing this reading, because I already pre-recorded the previous message, but now that I've done this reading, there has been something on the news in regards to Germany and an assassination attempt as well. Also, with the definition of kindergarten meaning children's garden, for some reason the first thing I could think about was the Garden of Eden. Because if you really think about it, the creation of the world and God placed two people on this earth. And when you read it at a modern time now, thinking about in the creation, the beginning of the earth, you think now that they will be full-grown adults. And then I go back to that children's garden reference, and I'm thinking like, they really were just kids, Adam and Eve. And even the story and how it's narrated tells of how childish they actually were. So it may be giving a reference to adults acting childishly. What reason the song Fergalicious is apparent for this message? Maybe some context there. Now the definition of kin is family relations, relations to animals, relations to plants. In an Old English, kin is then narrated as sin, C-Y-N-N. Also ironic because it sounds like the synonym for sin itself. If you number decode this word sin, C-Y-N-N, you have Y-N, which is a modern slang term for, young ninja. Then you have the two letters left outside of that, which is CN, which the first thing I can think of is Cartoon Network. Follow along. In Dutch, Ken is narrated as Koen, Koen, Kunne, from Indo-European root, give birth to, shared by Greek genos and Latin genus race. That is the definition of kin from the Dutch origin and language. Two things stood out to me in that definition of kin from the Dutch origin. The Koen, yeah, if I'm mispronouncing it, sorry about that, but Kunne made me think about an anime reference to kunai, if it was to ever be pronounced that way, and an anime reference, which can also be a direct correlation to the Cartoon Network reference, because of anime, right? Animation, cartoons. The kunai is in reference to some sort of weapon, a knife. The genos just made me think of genotype. So I feel as though these particular people, in regards to the previous channel's message, political parties, the government associations, like, they have a specific genotype that would make them, you know, like when you read a birth chart, you're able to depict what kind of person somebody is. You're actually able to even see if somebody's a serial killer or not. So I feel like that kunai reference, that kun reference, is in regards to, you know, premeditated, kind of, like, in a sense of, like, this type of person, their lineage is like they're bound to do something like that. So with the kunai reference, I thought of Koon, Coon. You know, I've heard that terminology before, but I never took the time to look up what it means. Koon means raccoon. You know what a raccoon looks like, right? Two other definitions for coon. I found 3 definitions. The first one was raccoon. The second one was an offensive insult of a black person. African American, of course. But it's predominantly black. African American and black is 2 different things. And the third definition is how a white person hides themselves. And I found that super significant, because what that then told me in regards to this sin definition, CYNN, and how it translates to Cartoon Network and anime and animated series of sorts, cartoons, is that, you know, even in history, actors, actresses were made to do the blackface, and also cartoons now have a lot of racial indifference, whether you find it funny or not. But it just was letting the general public know in this message predominantly that, you know, whites, superiority, however they leaders, however they feel about themselves, when it comes to public television, they use anime and cartoons to do this coon activity, insult black people by using white face, like kind of like an opposite, or using black face to hide themselves, like kind of like the terminology of the NIGGA. Supposedly a certain demographic is not supposed to use that word because of history and how it makes people feel. But if they, you know, get into animation, cartoons, and things of that sort, they're able to use these characters that are not real people, that they can make any ethnicity and say and do what they want them to say. I don't know why that's highly significant, but something about the Democratic Party, the political party, is highly significant to that coon phrase and use and animation and cartoons. What I also found highly significant in regards to the previous message, I was talking about, like, if you look at every 10 years, a president who's been in office after or before JFK, every 10 years there's some sort of assassination attempt. And I found that really weird because, like, why is it exactly every 10 years? And, back to that kindergarten reference at the end of kindergarten, the number 10 was highly significant to career and social status, dating back from German origin in the mid-19th century. And I also mentioned that there was an assassination attack in Germany just the other day. So it's something maybe that needs to be looked at from a professional point of view. So that got me thinking about the origin of 9/11. I told you guys there's a video called The Black Mixtape online if you would like to go view that for yourself, if it's still available, where they're talking about how the 9/11 was like premeditated, and it could have been particular people in the government that helped plan that event. A lot of people were pointing the finger at the president at the time, but he wasn't at the location there. And I was talking about how something about someone that was at the Pentagon or like at an underground tunnel or bunker had a lot of knowledge as to what was going on that day. When I looked into 9/11, the date 9/11/2001 was the day that the Trade Center was I guess a terrorist attack, right? This was at 8:46 a.m. in New York City. I remembered that there was hijackers that were actually arrested, while the rest of them died for their own spiritual belief of being a terrorist. I don't know how you convince somebody to do that, but to each his own. But I was like, are these hijackers still alive? Did they go through like the U.S. process of a law, or what happened to these people? Because it's told that the American people came together in a hostile situation and overtook these two people. And it sounds like, if you even think about it, like everybody else that participated in that terrorist attack were killed, or kind of like a suicide mission, like exactly like that. The other two didn't get to commit suicide. They had to face, what was really going on. The two hijackers, due to research, I found out they were given to the FBI, government officials. When I did more research, what I found out was that was in 2001, right? They were saying that the first thing that came to mind was Osama bin Laden, right? I remember how it was a whole thing where they said they had killed him. They found out they didn't kill him. They had to go back and they had to go kill him for real and record it and all that stuff like that. Maybe some sort of variation to the moon landing for whatever reason. So I found this piece of information that was highly significant. It's talking about Al Qaeda, Islam, and Osama bin Laden. These were the three topics in regards to the 9/11 attack that people were trying to promote. This attack happened because of Al Qaeda, Islam, and Osama bin Laden. Did a little bit more research. Mind you, 9/11 took place in 2001. In 2004, Al Qaeda, Osama bin Laden, and ISIS had a merger where they put all the combined intelligence and physical military forces together. Only 3 years later, after the attack, Al Qaeda then left ISIS in the year 2020. In 2014. I don't know. Listen. I just heard 2020. And I don't know what that means, but listen. 2001 terrorist attack. Took two hijackers into custody, government officials. 3 years later, in between this, Al Qaeda, Osama bin Laden, and ISIS did a merger to all work together. 10 years later, Al Qaeda left ISIS. But in 2011, Osama bin Laden was killed. 3 years before Al Qaeda left ISIS. The numbers 3 and 10 highly significant. Highly significant. This is more like an American Heritage Society message. God brings justice into my life because I'm authorized to have it. Any other message? No significant change, but the power of love gains me money quickly. Gratitude for my fortune and luck. A quick response. So something is about to happen. I really urge all my supporters to really pray for the country of the United States of America, because the power of love gains me money quickly. Something about a money deal. It seems as though like if there's some sort of beneficial monetary gain between like terrorists or whatever like that, or the federal government, or something going on, like there's like somebody wants to take that opportunity to do some attack. And I see how like even in the news they're talking about war, another war and stuff like that. You really need to pray right now. Professionally, I am tremendously abundant. God brings justice into my life because I'm authorized to have it. Something is going to go down in the justice system like right now. That is the message. Psalm 91, stay blessed and pray for America.